Hello and welcome to another episode of Life Talk Pop with Bami. Today we want to actually appreciate each and every one of you that has been viewing our content, sharing our content, engaging. It's not been easy so far, but the encouragement is actually mind blowing. We want to thank each and every one of our subscribers for sharing to your friends, to your loved ones, because what we're actually doing is trying to just impact our lives and ourselves. Today's topic is actually about legality of business, and I titled it "The Legal Do's and Don'ts of Small Businesses in Digital Age," especially in the country of Nigeria. Um, if you've ever sold something on WhatsApp or any other social media platform, or you run a thriving Instagram page that doubles, as your storefront, congratulations to you. You're an entrepreneur. If your dream has come true. But why the hustle is actually real, there are some legal implications which many of us might not know of. Many online vendors believe that because their business isn't formal, the law doesn't apply. That couldn't be further from the truth. Whether you are running a full e-commerce business or managing orders from your phone between day jobs, the law is the law. The law is always in the background, silently observing your contracts, your data handling, your brand, your customer interactions. So today's the topic. I want to just dive into what every online business owner in Nigeria should know, especially those using informal platforms like WhatsApp, Instagram, and so many other social media platforms. So we'll be joined today by Henry, a legal scholar, a lawyer, and Henry, if you can just give us a quick um, background of your practice and area of specialization, that'd actually be, wonderful, please.
All right. My name is Henry Stubechkwibekwe. I'm a lawyer practicing in Nigeria, specializing in corporate commercial law. So my practice involves helping businesses make sense of legal stuff
Mm,
and stay on the right side of the law.
mm,
And that involves involving in advising them on things like intellectual property, on things like contracts, on things like compliance with the law. I mean, my job is just to make sure that they make the most of the law, the best use of the law in relation to their businesses. So that's basically what I do. Nothing complicated. Thank you.
thank you so much. So I just wanted to just get a feel of the topic we're about to discuss because it has to do with legal insights for online business owners. So I wanted to know why you think there's been such a boom in small online businesses in Nigeria, especially Instagram or WhatsApp. You see a lot of people into this real estate, a lot of people, diversifying, selling a lot of things, people selling skincare products, essential oils, all this kind of stuff like that. What's happening?
Oh. Well, I think the economy is a bit tough. All right.
Mm,
There are no jobs, no means of survival. So the next best thing to do when you have a phone and internet is to sell online because uh, the psychology of sales is you have people you can reach to advertise your product, and then if they see it, they like it, they buy. And internet is a very good medium to do that. And everybody has access to internet. Everybody uses WhatsApp, everybody uses Instagram, everybody uses Facebook and LinkedIn and all of that. So
mm,
uh, the reasonable thing is use what you have to get what you don't have. So that's why I believe that there has been a boom in online sales and all of those things. So
mm.
if people have audience, people that listen to them, people that watch things that they post, they believe those people can also buy what they sell. So they they just turn entrepreneurs because of the platforms that are available, the resources that are available to them. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a very good thing, only that they need to pay attention to the legal implications of what they do.
Thank you so much. And so another question I wanted to just ask before we just into the setting the stage segment. Many people treat online sales as informal also, hustling for your daily 2K, like the common slang in Nigeria. I wanted to know some of the logo misconceptions you often encounter with dealing with this kind of people that treat online, like mostly deal with online sales.
Okay. Um, One of the major misconceptions I meet is in the area of names, right? So the way online businesses start in Nigeria is that somebody feels that, okay, I don't have money. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Okay, there's something I can sell, or there's somebody that I know that has, maybe, let's say, ring light. You have ring light in bulk, so I can add my own money and market it to other people. Like that, an online business is born. And so
Boom,
when the
like
person
that.
is just born like that, so when the person starts posting, if just by posting, posting and posting and posting, one day he decides, this my online business don't reach. It's supposed to have a name by now. And like that, man, the person gives the online business a name, Romy's Collections. Right? So, and he doesn't know that by that mere thing, he has breached a section of the law, section 863 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Right? It states that nobody is allowed or permitted to do a business in Nigeria under a name that is not registered. Right? So the only exceptions to name that is not registered is your own birth name that was given to you by your parents. Right? So any name like that you just form and begin to use to do business should be registered. And if it's not registered, is already an infraction of the law. So it's nobody, people don't, that knowledge is not general. And people fall into that trap a lot. People fall into that trap a lot. So that's just one area. The other area is the trap of thinking that I am too small to obey any law. I'm too small to pay tax. I am too small to uh, to have terms and conditions for my business. Alright, so not knowing that the law protects every consumer that buys anything from you. And so instances where I've encountered things like that are in areas of, let's say, no refund policy.
Hmm.
For instance, you are marketing a shortlet for someone. You are marketing a shortlet for someone, and then somebody books a shortlet. Let's say the shortlet is 50,000 naira. Somebody books a shortlet 50,000 naira. He wants to stay there for a night, and then he pays. Then like 5 hours to the time he's supposed to come in, he says, I'm no longer coming in. No, can you say? You just tell him that your money don't go, your money has gone. There's nothing we can do about it. There's no refund of money after payment. The law doesn't allow you to do that. Why the law allows you to
Why?
charge a reasonable the law allows you to charge a reasonable cancellation fee, right? Because other people are supposed to book your apartment, and this person
Mm,
has spoiled business for you. You get that kind of a thing. But then the law also
mm,
believes that if somebody doesn't enjoy the benefits of the service, He's not supposed to pay the full price for it. So you have to meet somewhere at the middle. You charge your own cancellation fee and refund the rest of the money down to him. So there are laws around businesses. It doesn't matter whether you are operating online or you are operating traditionally. So businesses need
Oh,
to be educated about those laws. Yeah, I think I will stop here.
okay. Thank you so much. That was just like setting the stage so that if people can understand the stuff you are made of. So the next segment I want to move into is what I call my DM is my contract, the basics of online sales agreements. So the first question I want to ask is for you to explain the concept of contract, the parameters behind it, every element of what makes something a contractual agreement. That is my first question. Then I want to now know whether it is legally accurate to say DMs in WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, messages on WhatsApp, can it be legally binding as a contract?
Okay. All right. So this is uh, this is a question I get a lot, and it's good to have the opportunity to trash it in a platform like this. So we enter contracts every day. A contract can be as simple as you flag down bike man on the road, you discuss fares, then it takes you to where you are going to. That's already a full contract. A full contract. You go to the person
Mm,
selling provisions in your area, you pay the person, you collect provisions, you come back to your house. That's already a full contract. That a
yeah.
full contract agreement that has been finished. So what makes up a contract is not until when you bring a paper and then you write terms and then you sign and the other person sign. That is not what that is not until then that a contract has been done. A contract
Mm,
can be done orally and is enforceable in court so long as you can prove it. The reason why it
orally.
looks, yes, orally. The reason why it looks like oral contracts cannot be proven is that is the person's word against yours. But let's say, for instance, there's a third person standing there when you were doing the contract and you
Wow.
bring him to court to prove it. It can be proven and the court can enforce it. And once it's clear to the
Really?
court that, yes, it is like that. So I said that to say that DMs, that somebody chatted you up, say I need a ring light, uh, so inches ring light, and you say you have it that is 45,000, and then you send the person uh, maybe 20 inches instead of 45
Mm,
inches. You have reached a contract. So a contract is valid even if it's done via DM. So what makes a valid contract are five basic elements that I'm going to just quickly explain. The first of those elements is offer. That is when you make somebody an offer to buy your products. A contract
yeah.
doesn't start when I am making enquiries about your product. It starts when the seller tells me I have this maybe sneakers and it costs so amount. That becomes an offer that the buyer can either accept or reject.
Yeah.
So that leads me to the second stage of the contract. There must be acceptance. So there must be an offer and there must be acceptance. The third thing about contract is intention to create legal relations. This is talking about the seriousness that is involved in the contract.
Intention to
And
create legal relations.
yes.
Wow.
So it's talking about the seriousness that is put into the contract. Let me
Okay.
give you an example of what I'm talking about. Recently there was a social media frenzy about one person saying that a musician promised her a Lamborghini
Lamborghini.
for yeah, for wanting to sleep with her. Then he promised her Lamborghini. You know, I was discussing with my legal friends and says, if there's a promise, if it's true that there's a promise like that, right? There is no intention to create legal relations
Mm.
because the law understands that you can't seriously make such promises when you're about to sleep with someone. The law the law feels that you can promise somebody heaven and earth. Imagine you want to sleep with someone, the person say, wait, you have to give me a Lamborghini.
God.
What will you and he said, I will give you all the heaven and earth, everything I
But
have.
what if
Ju-
the person have the means to get the Lamborghini?
Whether he has the means or not,
Does it matter to
it
the law?
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't change the fact that there are instances where, because of friendliness, because of the way the thing was said, the law feels that there's no intention to create legal relations here. Another instance is when a husband, he just promises the wife, says, okay, if you take the children to school, I'll give you 20,000 naira. Then the wife
Mm.
takes the children to school and is expecting 20,000 naira. And the husband says, oh, I'm just joking. If it comes to the law will assume that there is no
Joke
intention,
involved.
yeah, there is joke involved, yes. There's no intention to
Okay.
create legal risk. So when things like that, when situations like that arise, the law will excuse that to not be a contract. Now, it doesn't mean
Mm.
that it's automatic. There are things you can do to show that you are serious in situations like that. For instance, you can whip up a full written contract with serious
For your
terms
wife.
and tell the person to sign it. Tell your wife
For
to
your wife,
sign it.
Abi.
Yes. You understand? So when the law sees that kind, he says, this one don't pass, this one is no longer normal gist. Do you get the point?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the third point about intention to create language. And of course, in WhatsApp contracts or in DMs, the law assumes that there is intention to create legal relations. I mean, how am I coming to your DM to ask for price of ring lights if I'm not serious with you? And you are sending me
Wow.
account details and all of that. So the law assumes that. Then there's also capacity to contract. That is the capacity of the persons you are talking with to contract. So if you are, for instance, you are discussing with an insane person,
Mm.
an insane person does not have capacity to contract because he's insane. You know that there are mad people that they have some types of maybe sometimes where they are a little bit they talk like they are sane.
2 minutes of normalcy.
Something like that. So such a person does not have capacity to contract. So the law will not regard anything you enter into with him as a valid contract. Same
Yeah.
goes with minors, somebody of 10 years, right, that is not buying maybe food. A minor of 10 years who might want to go and buy PS5, for instance. Right? The law does not regard that as a valid contract because the
Oh,
minor has no capacity to contract.
wow.
You want to ask a question?
Yeah, I wanted to know the common mistakes some online vendors, since that's what you mostly deal with. The common mistakes they make when it comes to vague or unclear sales terms. A lot of people just think you can just enter DM, do whatever you like, and come
Hmm.
out. And I think one thing that I've noticed is like there are no repercussions, most especially um, in Nigeria. There are no repercussions at all. People feel like they can do anything and get away with anything. So far, you know one oga somewhere or you know one boss
Hmm.
somewhere, the law does not apply to you. So how can how can we clearly know some common mistakes these online vendors make? And how can small business owners also clearly communicate their sales terms in informal channels like WhatsApp? Like, I think my when my mom had a personal business, although she still runs it, I think there's a time she had to personally set, these are my terms. You can These are the
Mm,
terms that you must abide with when coming to deal with
yes.
business, and it's for you to either want to come and do business or not. It's not by force.
It's not by force. It's not
Yeah.
by force.
So I,
So
I wanted
then,
to you to explain it from the legal side. These
okay.
mistakes that most of them can make, because a lot of people now. One thing I've noticed again now is that people are getting sued, or
Yes.
lawyers are exchanging hands now. Because you don't hear my lawyer have sent this person a notice on social media, or this one I say my lawyer too have sent you a notice. There are just a lot of gimmicks and a lot of things that people don't make sense of going up and down. So I just needed some clarity on that.
All right. So, actually, there are many, but I'll just try to abridge some of them. The first one I discussed earlier was the one of maybe, okay, names, but that's not regarding to businesses. Okay, that's not regarding terms. That is just you as a business with the law. But then when you
Mm,
are dealing with a consumer, just know that there are already laws that protect that consumer. Uh, right? So um, when you are coming up with terms and conditions for your business,
yeah.
I'll first of all advise that you consult a lawyer to help you do that for you in your specific niche or your specific particular business that you're running. Because that's a
Okay.
mistake that I see a lot of people do.
But
Right?
lawyers are
So,
expensive.
not
Most
really.
people
It's
feel
not.
most people feel that lawyers are expensive. So if I want to create a business now, I want to trademark some of my names or copyright, I have to get a lawyer, and it's too stressful. A lot of legal terms. I'm not in this section of the law. I don't know this particular. This is not my area of expertise. It's just too much work. I feel it's just too much work. I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's
But
not. It's not. We just do it one by one. I advise people to just do it one by one. So, but the main thing that you should just have in mind is that when you are dealing with somebody, there are laws that protect that person. And if you are not clear from day one about what the expectations or what your business policies are, right? The law
yeah,
would invariably tilt to the side of the consumer because it feels the consumer is at the receiving end and you is at the giving end. So what things like those terms and conditions does for you is that it helps you protect yourself, all right, so that when the law comes, it will not take the consumer side over your side,
mm,
provided that you draft your terms and conditions or you place your terms and conditions in line with what the law already stated.
yeah.
So, I don't know if I should go further to give examples, real life examples
No, you can, you
of
can, you
stuff.
can actually.
Okay,
So,
all right. So, there's this example. I think my brother does a solar business, right? And you know how solar businesses are in Nigeria. Solar businesses are booming. No, no, everybody wants to do solar because of the kind of power supply that we have in Nigeria, right? So people come to his DM and say, I need I need solar solar
panels.
systems, solar panels, solar distance of this. He say, okay,
Mm,
how many, what's the capacity, this and this and that, this and this. Okay, okay, okay. Then normally what he used to do before I came in was that you just say, okay, um this is how much it costs. Then the person will now say, let me pay you 250K. Maybe it's 500K. Let me pay you 250K. When you finish installing, I'll pay you the rest. Then you will go there, finish installing, and then the person will say, come back later tomorrow for your money. Then come back again for this, all this, come back, all those kind of things.
Oh God.
And, all right, so things like that, they were just kind of discouraging him, and he was even arrested one time. You get all those
Ah.
kind of things. Yes, he was arrested for no fault of his, all those kind of things. So what I helped him draft was a solid terms and conditions, and they were very simple, very very simple to read. If you see it, you won't even know that it's a lawyer that drafted it, because I've learned that you don't need to sound lawyerly for an agreement to be valid. You don't need to. It doesn't need to sound loyal. So an agreement stated the minimum amount you must drop for. So once you are chatting him up, he's already whipping out. He's already giving you those terms and conditions, and they are very simple to read, so that you don't be like, this long legal stuff that you are giving me now. Who has time to read all these things? So they're just very simple things that if you just read, this is what you're getting into, and this is how it's going
Yeah.
to react. If you're asking for refund, or some of people will just pay and say, I got it cheaper somewhere else. After he had bought all the equipment, they now say, okay, give me refund me money. And he doesn't refund, they will start threatening him and all of this. So it just makes people, and once I brought those
But
terms
now they
and
cannot
conditions,
threaten me again because you are there
they
now.
don't. Actually, I live far away from him. So, but those controls that he placed in the business, and I also helped him draft contracts in case of big installations like that. So those controls I started to put into his business with a legal mind has made him have less issues, far less
Yeah.
issues with people. You understand? So
Yeah.
um, those are kind of things that you will need a legal practitioner in corporate commercial law to help you
Hmm.
just put in your business. And they are not as expensive as you think. Anyways, I'm telling you, they're not as expensive as you think. You just do it one by one. Do each
Wow.
one by one.
Thank you
So
so
that's
much.
that.
Thank you so much. The last question in this segment I wanted to know is, if somebody is operating their businesses from their house, does property or zoning law come into play in this? I think because I think there
Hmm.
was a time, I think was it last year or 2 years ago, where there was this property in Rivers State that got busted because they were making pure water,
Hmm.
table water out of their house, and it was this spectacle on social media, and it was just funny. And it was not even
Well,
funny, but it was funny because they were making that in their house. So like, I wanted to just know what the law says concerning operating businesses from your home, and how property or zoning law applies in those circumstances.
okay. That's a very complex question because land law in Nigeria or property law in Nigeria, it differs significantly state by state. It's
Oh, but
not.
you are not into land law.
I'm into land law. Do you understand? But if I say I'm into land law, it means I'm an expert in land law of one or two or three states. Do you understand?
No, you can
That's
just
what
give,
I'm
you
trying
can
to
just give me like
explain.
you can just give me like
So,
a general explanation
so
just for
when I give you, I'll give you a general. I'll try to explain how it works. But I'm just trying to say that um, using the example you cited, the part of the reason they were busted is not that they were operating from their house, is that they didn't get proper licenses,
yeah,
right, to do the business they were doing.
yeah.
So, like for instance, I've helped somebody
Sorry,
process a
excuse me.
okay. I've helped somebody process a NAFDAC registration for a product that she was producing from her house. and she was certified producing it from her house, and he had no issues. Right? So it's not particularly an issue for you to be doing something from your house. The only problem is when you don't get the proper licensing for that category of product.
Oh,
Do you understand? Yes. When you don't get the proper licensing for that category of product, is not. And then there are also noise regulations. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. This one is the rarest law I've ever seen in Nigeria. Nigerian regulations. That there's a particular amount of sound, noise that you can produce in a residential area. There's a particular amount of sound you can produce in a commercial area.
nobody's
I,
listening to that thing now.
nobody listens to it, and it differs in the day and in the night. I think it's 50 decibels for residential areas
Ah,
in the
you know,
in
one thing I feel that there's a gap between the the legislative arm of government in Nigeria and the people because nobody knows. It's when they catch that is
you
barrable.
do the catch.
Like there's this saying that everybody's a thief. Now who they catch be barrable. So whoever that they catch now, you know that we gotta explain for on behalf of everybody else that is doing that thing. So, so it's
uh,
always funny
um,
because I've never heard of this noise law because it's something that is vague or it feel like it's
yeah.
non-existent at all. Because if it's existent, why would there be a call to prayer early in the morning in the streets whereby
You see that
it's
kind of a
just
thing. You see that kind of thing. Somebody is still sleeping and the person you just hear
yes,
very
so
loud
honestly,
though, with loudspeaker.
yeah, very loud,
You
very
get things
loud.
like that. So those are the zoning laws and property laws that might apply, but it's not a big deal when you have the proper licenses.
Mm.
And
Thank you so much. I want us to move quickly.
all right.
Protecting your online identity is another segment I tagged. Yes, I wanted to know what are the legal risks of not protecting your brand name or content online. That's my first question. I wanted to know if you can
Mhm.
walk us through the basics of intellectual property, specifically copyright and trademarks. Then I can ask
Okay.
the last question so that just those two first of all, so we can get things started
All
or get
right.
things
Okay.
moving.
Yeah. I think I mentioned earlier that MTN Nigeria was fined 850 million
Yes, you did.
for trademark infringement. So that tells you how serious infringing on someone else's trademark can be. And that tells you also how much the law protects trademark when you do one. So when you start a business, you only do one CAC registration. You only get one license
Yeah,
to do business. That license should cover mostly should cover mostly that segment of business that you are doing. But
yeah.
one business can have several expressions, if you get what I mean. But then, before then, let me explain what copyright and trademark is. Copyright is a branch of the intellectual property law that protects your intellectual work, that's your creative intellectual work. For instance, if you release a song, for instance, that's a very creative intellectual work. If you
Yeah, or you
write
write a book.
if you write a book, that's a creative intellectual work. Or you make
Yeah.
a post online, just a
Is-
post online, is also an intellectual work. Or you make a
really?
video, yes, or you make a video like I'm doing now. This is a creative intellectual work.
But it is
Do
my
you
creative
understand?
intellectual work.
All right. So copyright protects laws like that, and it's implicit. Like you don't need to register anything.
Wow.
Copyright already devolves on that thing by virtue of you producing it and even producing it and storing it. You don't even need to post it for it to have started resting on it. Now,
Wow.
the the second aspect of intellectual property, there are other aspects, but these are the two major ones I'm focusing on this. The second
Mm.
one is trademark. So trademark is any name you register and say, this is my own name, you own it. So uh, whether you register your business name, your entire business name, or you register an expression of your business, or you register slogans. People register slogans. For instance,
Yeah.
you can register let's say you run a real estate company. You can say you can
Can you
say
start? Can you start a catchphrase?
okay, let me try a catchphrase and say you can say Romy Real Estate Company Limited. Easy peasy. And you're always saying it. You're always saying it anytime you are doing your ads.
Mm.
You have to trademark that thing.
Wow.
Because what happens is that any business that starts using easy peasy, people assume that it's you, and they feed off the goodwill that you have built in the market. That's why
Wow.
trademark law is very important, to prevent people from feeding off the goodwill you have built in the market. It also happens in packaging of products.
Yeah.
Maybe you package products, your product is red and the design is very similar to another product, right? You need to trademark your logos, your designs, your
Yeah.
words, right? So those are the things that trademark law does. It makes you own a name such that every other person that tries to use that name shall be guilty of trademark infringement, and you can
Mm.
collect lots of money from him. I was
Wow.
explaining one time about Food Concepts Limited or Food Concepts PLC. Like that's the company that is behind Chicken Republic, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
people think that once you register a business name, that name is automatically fully protected, which is not true. You have to go an extra step to trademark it. Now, Chicken Republic, you will never find it in CAC as registered.
Yeah.
The only thing you find is Food Concepts PLC. That's the business that is registered. That's the
Yeah.
company that is registered. What they did for Chicken Republic is to trademark it, make it a trademark. So now imagine somebody goes and registers Chicken Republic Enterprises,
PLC.
registers it,
Yeah.
register this under CAC. What do you think they will do? They will
They'll
just
not register
send
it.
you they will just send you they'll just send you a notice. Let's assume that something happens and they allow you register it and you start using the name to
Yeah.
carry on business. What Chicken Republic will just do is to just send you a notice. Hey, stop using that name or we sue you. If you refuse, they will sue you straight and collect millions from you. Yes,
Wow.
so that's the importance of having trademark, and registering your
Mm.
name as a trademark is an important step in securing your identity online.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So so I wanted to know what legal considerations should be made if the business now evolves into a physical storefront. Like you now want to rent a shop, you want to rent a
Mm.
store, you want to go bigger. So it's like you've made it online, but you want to now switch to being in a store. So what are the legal considerations that can be made if the business
Mm.
now evolves into that time and space?
All right. The changes are not so much, but then you have to start dealing with uh, walking customers. And then you have to start dealing with maybe a landlord if you want to rent a property. You have to
Okay.
start dealing with a landlord, and then you have to uh, prepare lease agreements and all of that. Then one important thing you have to do if your business is registered with the CAC is that the law requires that you paste your name and RC number in a very conspicuous place in that your storefront. Do you understand? So
Yeah, because I used to see a lot
if
of RC numbers.
so they don't just do that for fun. They do that because the law requires them to do it. That they write
Okay.
their name and then they write paste their RC numbers.
Why?
Right? So because it's in the law, it's required like that. And I think the reason behind it is so that people will know, or so that regulators will, number one, so that regulators will easily know businesses that are not registered. And then
Okay.
number two is to give the people that are doing business with you that peace of mind that this is a registered business I'm dealing with.
Okay. Okay.
Do you understand? Something like that.
Yeah.
But
Thank
it's not a matter of the reason or like the reason behind it. Everything I said might it just be a guess, but the law says you should do it and you should do it. That's on period.
you. So we just have about 10 minutes so that
All
we
right.
can
Okay.
yeah. And so I wanted to know a lot about cost and consumer protection laws and how you can navigate the rights of consumers online. So I need to know
Okay.
what are the key consumer protection laws that can apply to informal online sales. That's number one. How important is it to have a clearly defined return or refund policy? And how do these tech platforms like WhatsApp, um, other social media platforms influence or support consumer protection? Those are the three questions I have. So we can just, I want to just, after that, we can now, for you to give your quick fire legal tips and a lot of actionable advice that I really have. So,
All right. So number one is one of
the key,
um, the key consumer protection laws that protects consumers in
and
informal
yes, in online sales, yeah.
online sales. Now, one of the major ones that we see that usually applies is issues on return and refund.
Mm.
Like issues on return and refund. And like I said earlier, consumers in Nigeria are automatically protected by law. Right? What you can only do as a business is to make sure you align with that law and protect your business by having a return and refund policy.
Yeah.
So it's not that law is not very rigid as it were about say if this happens, this is what you should refund. If this happens, this is how you return. It's not very rigid. It just requires that your policies should be reasonable. Right? Well, for instance, let's say you are selling online. You are
Mm.
selling. You are selling sneakers online, right? And the person has said, I want size 48, and you give the person size 44,
Wow.
right? And the person got the size 40. I say, this is size 44. What I clearly ordered was size 48.
48.
What's the issue? You now say, eh, there's no refund. The law the law frowns at not refunding people in such cases because there is an extant law on goods being fit for the purpose they are bought for. So an item must be fit for the purpose it's bought for.
Yeah.
If it's a shoe, I'm supposed to be able to wear the shoe. I mean, in common sense. I'm supposed to, if I buy a torch and this touch or torchlight, if I buy torchlight, the torchlight is not showing light. It's not good for the purpose I bought it for. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
goods are now the goods might not be top notch the way you expected it. And all those things are maybe subjective. But then in most cases, the goods must be fit for the purpose they are bought for. All right. So
Yeah.
those are the consumer protection laws that basically protect consumers. Whatever you sell to them online, it must be make sure they are as 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 fit as well or as suitable as possible for the purpose they want to use it for. And then let your descriptions be very clear, not vague. Don't just put all vague things like okay, it's good, it's nice, it's kinikon, it's good. Put features of the product. If I'm buying a laptop, let me know that the laptop is has a Celeron processor and doesn't have Core
I think
i7.
most people do that right now. I think
Yeah,
I think
people.
I think that one has improved. I think that one has
Yes,
improved
it
drastically.
has
Like
improved,
people
but and then there's an issue of price also.
hmm.
Price. If I'm buying a product, you must tell me the price. You must state the price. No, it's not just
Eh,
telling me the price. Because if I say telling me the price, it will imply that
and
writing
that
DM
was
for price.
that one still need improvement. People are not most
People
people
are
are not doing
not.
that one.
People are not. You just see people DM for price.
Because
DM.
like anything you're buying here has a price tag. There's no like except maybe when they are doing discounts that they give you a discount on some things, but everything
Exactly.
has a price tag, which is very nice. So you know what you are getting yourself into.
Exactly. So things like DM for price. You put a very
Mm,
nice shoe and you say DM for price. The law frowns at it. Another thing people don't know is that you cannot, if you are living in Nigeria, if you are in Nigeria, you cannot put the price of something in dollars.
wow.
Yeah. You can't put it in pounds, you can't put it in euro. The price must always be in naira. Always. Is either and there are these things are many that people don't know. The price must always be in naira. Must
Wow.
and you cannot force somebody to pay in dollars.
Oh god.
So these are some of the consumer protection
And those are
consumer
yeah, they're
protection
very,
laws.
very, very, very. How will I put it? Very, very essential, and they are truly
Exactly.
protecting the
The consumer.
consumers. Thank you so much, thank you so much. So I wanted to have some like quick fire legal tips, something that an actionable advice that can help you know people. I just want you to
Okay.
just give like quick answers to this. So I need to know what's one simple legal step every business should take today.
Very, very simple. From all we've discussed, make sure the name you are using to run your business is registered. And
Mm,
after being registered, make sure it's trademarked.
wow.
Then when it's trademarked, make sure you have terms and conditions for running your business. And not just anyhow terms and conditions. Make sure those terms and conditions are in compliance or in alignment with existing consumer protection laws.
Wow.
Do you understand? And then your relationship with your staff, make sure is you have a contract for it. You have a contract with any staff that you're working with, and all of those things. So basically, basic business at basic level should comply with licensing requirements, should comply with tax laws, should comply with yeah, I think that's basically the basic. Then some businesses that are dealing with precious metals. For instance, they are selling gold, selling diamond, selling things. Yeah. It doesn't matter that you are selling it online. The law regards you as a designated non-financial business and profession. That's a story
Wow.
for another day. That's another world on its own. So it
Yeah.
means you have to be registered with the EFCC, Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, and then you have to be filing some reports to the EFCC. Right? So
Okay.
that's another world on its own. But then some just necessary basic things that you do is that you have to register your business, you have to trademark the business, and you have to create terms and conditions that are in compliance with competition and consumer laws. Right? So um those are the
Thank you
basic
thank you
things.
so much. So I want to ask, um, so what should a seller never do when transacting business online? What should the seller, not the buyer now, the seller,
The
what should they
seller
never do when
and transacting business online.
online?
Okay. There are many things you should never do.
I just want like one
But
or two.
you just the one thing that you should never do is number one, you should never tell a client that you have not provided service for that there is no refund. Don't try
Oh my
it.
god. So collect the money first and say there's no refund.
Don't try it. Don't ever do it.
Oh
And then
god, thank you.
another thing you should never do is take somebody else's content and use it to maybe probably advertise your product and not give the person credit. In fact, even with giving the person credit, the person can still come against you for copyright infringement. But then
Yeah.
people do the most. You use somebody's content, you use it to advertise your product, and you don't give acknowledgement. Don't ever do that
Wow.
on
That
online.
is
Yes,
even without the law going is even bad. For you to go and use somebody's thing, somebody's
yes,
property, not acknowledge the person. That's bad. Without the law. So I wanted to know
exactly.
when is it time to get a lawyer involved in your business?
I always tell people, if at the very earliest stage, at the very earliest stage, you need to get a lawyer involved. I know that
Mm,
whenever I say this thing, people say, getting a lawyer is expensive, getting a lawyer is this, getting a lawyer is this. When you get a lawyer initially, it's not everything that lawyer will do, especially if you are short on cash. It's not everything that lawyer will do, right? But he will tell you timelines on when you must do this thing, right? For instance, there are some businesses that regulators can never know that they exist in Nigeria. Regulators can never know that it exist. Maybe you are just selling something online. You have like maybe 20 customers.
mm,
You get that kind of a thing. So you are still at the
yeah.
very young stage of your business. All you may need to do at that stage is register the business and start paying tax, right, in the name of the business. For
Then
that's all you may need to do. But then when the business begins to grow, there are other things you need to do. So, but getting a lawyer at the onset will prepare you for those
for
things.
yeah, for those things I need to do, yes. I
Yeah,
understand.
as time goes on. So
Yeah.
it's not like consulting a lawyer is going to charge you for everything you need to do. Although it's recommended, but obviously, realistically, not everybody can afford that at the initial stage. So you may first need to, maybe you get money, register the business. Then you get another money, you do your trademark. You get another money, you draft your terms and conditions. You get another money, you draft employment contracts, you get another money. Then when you are, it becomes more necessary when you are starting the business with a partner.
Mm.
You need a lawyer to sort what should happen if this partner goes, what should happen if this partner is no longer
Yeah,
taking the business
I think that
serious.
one is fair game. But when you're talking about sole proprietorship, most people don't really
Yes,
care at all. They just
they
want to be
don't,
their own boss, do their own things their own way, and
and
let
all of
life be
that.
all roses and gardens for them. Thank you so much. I wanted to, if you have a final word of advice that you have for small business owners navigating the
All
online
right.
space,
Okay.
if
So
there's any advice you can give them for free,
for free.
I've been
The advice advice I want to give you is that regulators are watching you online. It's not just your customers that are watching you. Police is watching you online. EFCC is watching you online. FIRS is watching you online. Do you understand? So it's not just your customers that are seeing your product. There are other
yeah.
people seeing you. So complying with the law early is to your own advantage. Complying with the law early is to your own advantage. So
Advantage.
get a lawyer, get a lawyer early and comply with the law early.
Thank
That's
you
the advice.
so thank you so much, Mr. Henry. I want to especially thank you for taking out time out of your schedule to, come on and I don't say lecture and have this dialogue with us so that we can know more about what we do daily to businesses. It brings us to the end of today's episode. I want to really, really thank you because I know it's not easy with your schedule and
Yes.
everything to come here. The three other people canceled because they had busy schedules. So I just wanted to let my viewers and subscribers just have much more education once it comes to legal insights into how they can go about their business and daily lives. Most people now in Nigeria have online businesses. I think more than 70% have businesses that they run, and your advice, your take was able to at least give some insight into why or how they can prosper more and more and more. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. If there's one thing we hope to take away is that just because your business lives online or feels informal doesn't mean that the law takes a back seat. Whether you are selling handmade products on Instagram, managing orders through WhatsApp, or operating a small e-commerce from your living room, the legal framework around contracts, contract rights, data privacy, and every other thing still apply. From realizing that a simple DM can form a binding contract, understanding the basics of protecting your name, logo, and customer data. Today's conversation with Henry, highlighted how crucial it is to be proactive about the legal side of business. And as you also grow, so does your responsibility, the risks, and it's so as the risk grows, and so as the profits so also grow. So taking time to
Agree.
put simple safeguards in place, like he said, like clear payment times, refund policies, or even just registering the business name, the trademark, the copyright, can save you from complex legal headaches down the line. So a huge thank you to everyone that tuned in today to listen. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and engage with our videos. I'm really, really appreciative. We are here because of you. And if you found today's video's episode helpful, please feel free to share it to a friend. You don't know who this can help. It's free legal advice. So thank you to our guest, Henry, um,
Thank you.
for joining us. I'm sure you will come back. I am definitely sure you will come back because we still have some other things we need to talk about. Thank you so much. I really appreciate.
You're
And
welcome. You're
that
most welcome.
comes the end of the podcast. Till we see you again next week. Bye.
Yeah.